The song of the year winner is not so bad.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. It's Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. It's Songs of the Year, and today we are talking about 2018. Not a great year. I think the worst year we've seen on the Billboard charts, continuing that trend of uh, descending ever downward every year. And I don't know, 2018 album-wise, I think it's a deep year, as deep as all the years in the 2010s are, but it's a little weaker at the top for me at least. So I don't know. Definitely, I think the weakest of this decade. So how you guys feeling? Are you also down on it?
Yeah, super down. It's weak everywhere, not just in depth or not just at the top, everywhere. My favorite album of the year was Mount Erie, I believe, and that wouldn't even probably make my top 75 albums of the decade. It's just a bad year. It's like one of those weird, just rogue years in the middle of good years, like 1990, like 89 rules, 91 rules, and then in the middle you get this nothing. It's a total void. I don't get it. But this one is pretty bad everywhere.
I mean, it's terrible. It's an awful year. I can't defend the billboards anymore. It's a marked change in just a couple of years. Like I could find songs a couple of years ago. It's just bad now. It's all those like Lil Dicky and Triple Extension and these just horrible rap artists. Just awful. The worst kind of rap music ever by far. It's like indefensible.
All right. So if you are new here, what we do is we each make two lists of 5 songs each. One list is all songs that charted. They had to have hit the Billboard Hot 100 at some point during 2018. And then the second list is wildcards. Those did not have to chart, just deep cuts, B-sides, anything at all from the year is eligible. One of those lists will be one song short because we save our favorite song of the year for the end of the video. And then before we reveal that, we also make a pick for our least favorite top 40 song of the year. So that's what's going down. I think it's Joe's turn to start.
Goody gumdrops. Here we go. I managed to find 5 songs that I kind of like. Like I don't hate these songs, but I mean, if they were on the radio, I might not change the channel. Number 5, I got Young Blood from 5 Seconds of Summer. It's not a great song. It's maybe not even a good song, but it has a good chorus. The verse sucks. I'm not even I can't talk about the verse because it's really lame. But the chorus kicks in, there's a little muscle behind it. It sounds like an actual like song. There's maybe some guitars in it. So we're gonna throw that on there. Number 4, I'll go with Finesse, the remix with Cardi B from Bruno Mars. Not a great song, but it is a fun song. Cardi B fits right in. It already has this like 90s hip hop flavor to it. And Cardi B just kind of adds to it. I mean, it's a good song. I like the Bruno Mars. And Cardi B doesn't just detract from this. So yeah, exactly. That's as good as you're gonna get. Number 3, No Tears Left to Cry from Ariana Grande. It's I don't know, there was this weird thing about like 90s throwbacks in 2017 and 2018. Like production kind of went to the 90s for a minute, quickly went away from that. But this one feels like an in vogue song. But Ariana Grande has a very good voice. I'll give her that. And she totally belts this one out. And I mean, it's fine. It's a decent song. I've enjoyed it. I've listened to the whole thing when it's been on the radio a couple times. Number 2, song I'm just kind of throwing on here because people like him and I like him. I don't particularly enjoy this song. This is America from Childish Gambino, but it's a good song and it's a smart song. I just don't like this production style and this rap style very much, but it's a good song. He's a good artist. It's well written. Number 1, Blowout, the easiest number one in Billboard history. Make Me Feel from Janelle Monáe. I think it was like number 99 or 100 or something. So just squeaked on the list. And I believe Prince wrote this or whatever, had a hand in it. It sounds exactly like a Prince song, just completely. And I like Janelle Monáe a lot. I like this album a lot. And it's probably the only legitimately good song to make the Hot 100 this year.
All right. I do like Janelle Monáe, but I'm not sharing anything with you except This Is America, Childish Gambino. Great meaning, got a really cool beat. I love that super deep bass and the kind of clattering percussion. I always like his rapping. The only other legitimate song I like, I'll throw out here, and then there are three ones that I just had to fill in the gaps, I'll be honest. And I think Joe might have this as his least favorite. I've got Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's a beautiful song. I think both of them sound great. Although I am much more partial to the verse when she starts doing the I'm off the deep end thing when she gets too high, and it this is like a little bit of a key change or something. Something's off about it that I'm not really crazy about, but for 2018, I'll throw it in there. And then three other songs that I just had to pick because they didn't make my ears bleed. I've got the cover of Africa by Weezer because it's just a good song and it sounds kind of close to Toto. Like it doesn't sound too far off. So at least got that going for it. I mean, Weezer's not going to come close to doing anything else for me. I mean, it's probably the best song I think they've best thing they've done in the last 15 years. So good for them. Then I've got Call Out My Name by The Weeknd off his EP released this year. I like The Weeknd. I like his voice. It's a good big ballad, but it's not really that clever. It's just kind of that super hookup culture sensuality. I like his voice. It's very stylish. There's just slim pickings this year. And then I guess I'm going to go with Foster the People, Sit Next to Me, which is pretty much just like an 07, 08 MGMT ripoff, like pretty much, if you really think about it. It's pretty catchy, not too obnoxious. And he does like that falsetto with like the funky disco beat in the chorus and stuff. It's pretty much just sounds like Electric Feel, just kind of reworked a little bit. I don't know what else to say. It's 2018, man. That's all I could come up with.
All right. My Billboard list. I've got an all-female list this year for 2018. I've got Make Me Feel by Janelle Monáe. It's got a really cool minimal beat. I like the 80s Prince synth stabs in there. I didn't really realize that he had a hand in writing it, but yeah, Prince is all over it. I think there's actually a little MJ too in her vocal delivery. There's got some really cool whispered backing vocals on it too. Pretty good track. Then I'm going with Broken Clocks by SZA. It's got this hi-hat heavy, it's kind of like a trap beat, but it actually has some groove to it. And I really like the synth bed or whatever it is. I think it's like pitched down vocals that sound really cool. Her lead vocals are really strong as well. So going with that. Then I've got Focus by H.E.R, which is a really cool song. It's got this really slow beat, which works really well. There's like so much time in between the kick and snare that just like you get all this tension building up from how slow the track is. Again, it's a very minimal track. All these songs have these really sparse beats to them. I think there's like a harp, maybe a harp sample or some kind of like harp synth sound, which is pretty cool in bass and not too much else. Great vocals also from H.E.R. And then I've got a pair of tracks from Billie Eilish. I've got When the Party's Over, a track that is completely driven by Billie's voice. Lots of really cool vocal layering. Her tone is so good. It's almost like an anti-pop song. I think when you can have a hit with a song like this, it really comes down to the artist and just having like this great persona and a magnetism to them, because it's not like a particularly catchy song. And then I'm going to go with Ocean Eyes, which I think is really a good song. Excellent vocals. The production from Phineas on it is really good. The synth bass that comes in for the first chorus is the perfect counter for her vocals. And then in the second chorus, he adds this like filtered skittering beat thing that pans back and forth. And it's just really cool the way the track builds, and he adds elements throughout. So yeah, pretty bad year, slim pickings, but we scraped a few out of there.
All right. Talk about some billboards, some wild cards. I in 2018, I stopped listening to music. I had completely given up on new music in 2017. So I spent most of the year listening to covers of Castlevania songs by metal bands. Swear to God, true story. Um, so I really only liked a couple albums, and one of them was God's Favorite Customer, my winner, 2018. Just a fantastic album. From this one, I'm gonna go with Disappointing Diamonds are the rarest of them all. It has a disgusting bass line from Mark Ronson, just absolutely great. Reminds me completely of like Elvis Costello stuff, Bruce Thomas. And I just love Josh Tillman's lyrics. He's hilarious. He's so self-deprecating. And this is just a really great track. Very poppy, a little more upbeat than the rest of the album, which is very down. Whew, depressing. I also got Rats from Ghost. A little more kind of streamlined metal they went for on this album. And this is pretty like standard, like 80s metal-ish sounding. But I still think it's very good. It's very catchy. It's got some sweet guitar solos in it. Just, I like Ghost. I like him a lot. Number 3, I'm going to go with Ralphie from Post Animal. This is Steve from Stranger Things, former band. He quit recently and is doing some solo stuff. But this is like a really weird modern pop prog. Like parts of it sound like Asia. Some of it sounds like My Morning Jacket. Like it's really cool, really all over the place. Very fun album. Great fun song. I forget what the album's called. Something about being in a castle or something. Whatever. Just check it out. Number 2, I'm gonna go with the 1975. Love It If We Made It. I think the 1975 is really the only rock band I can take that like makes modern references and talks about like social media and uses buzzwords and stuff in their lyrics and make it work. Like make it sound natural. It doesn't sound like he's trying too hard. And this is just a really catchy song. And yeah, it's a good song. The album a little mixed on all their albums, but they put out some banging singles.
All right. I'm going to kick it off with Beach House with the song Lemon Flow. I like it because in this dour year, it feels like we're back in like 07, 08 territory, which I need. You get this haunting dream pop here with a jolt of electricity. It's just like a good, moody, hypnotic track with these trippy, cool textures and synth parts. I love their songs because you always feel like you're like really tripped out and like underwater and in like this bubble. Then from the 1975, I've got It's Not Living. It's like one of their great kind of classic sounding things where they mesh like disco and Peter Gabriel and NXS, like with that 80s pop gem kind of sensibility, sleek, sophisticated, kind of fashion filled sound. It's really catchy and perfect sounding. I love the way he sings everything. And they always have something to say. Like their songs, even though they come off as like this plastic pop kind of sound, and they always have charisma and they always have like they're smarter than the sound that they're putting out, which is really cool. This song's like It's Not Living If It's a Simulation. It's kind of a song about, not worth doing anything without your lover. It's pretty good. Then I've got by a band called Wild Nothing, Letting Go. This is also like an eclectic kind of 80s throwback track with very Cure like guitar and dream-like vocals, all reverbed out, like harkens back to the Cure and Psychedelic Furs and stuff like that. Great synth lead, pretty basic song, but it's just incredibly catchy and really infectious and gets stuck in your head. And then I had a few to choose from this album, but from First Aid Kit, I'm going with Fireworks. This is just beautiful Americana with terrific harmony from the girls here. Old school kind of feel with like a little bit of 60s presence. Great slow jam with fantastic orchestral arrangement at the end, and just a really touching, pretty song with really good tact. So that's what I got. And my winner coming from the wild cards, obviously.
All right, my wild cards. I've got Short Court Style by Natalie Prass. Killer groove, amazing bass line. It's got some like old school 80s R&B feel, but it's also like really light and bubbly and really poppy. It also has like a little touch of indie rock. It's a really cool combination of things, really infectious. Fun tune there. And then I'm going with a song called Sweet Savior by Villagers. The main songwriter in Villagers is a guy named Connor J. O'Brien. And he's okay. I think he's an okay songwriter. His voice is kind of like, it's a little wimpy. It's almost like I don't know what to compare it to. Maybe like a little Ben Gibbard-esque. And he's kind of like a sentimental singer-songwriter type. But he really makes up for it by making tremendous production choices. This track is really killer. Sounds great. Really amazing bass on this song. The electric piano sounds really great. The drums have this like loose, jazzy feel. There's some incredible musical choices too. Some of the chords and note choices that he goes for in the melody is just really cool. It kind of builds up into this like almost psychedelic type of thing. It's really, really interesting. Then I'm going with a song called The Night Everything Changed from my album of the year by T. Hardy Morris. It's a really haunting song, great melody. I love his voice a lot. The instrumentation on this track is really cool. It's really subtle and reserved. Just a kick drum kind of keeping time throughout. There's this like circular type of bass line, a little bit of pedal steel. I love the lyrics. He's talking about like, it seems like to me like he's talking to his band and talking about days on the road and saying like, I remember all these good times and like, but I don't remember the nights that kind of like got away from me. I don't remember the benders and I'm sorry, basically, for the nights that got out of hand. Let's remember the good nights. And then I'm going to go with a track from the Lemon Twigs, Got Lonely, from their incredibly bizarre concept album about a monkey that goes to school with human kids. But for as weird as that concept is, they still put so much heart into it. It's just a song about being an outcast, and Michael D'Addario gives an incredible performance. It's heartfelt, but it's also like theatrical and bombastic and over the top. The string arrangement is really cool. And I don't know, just something about the way that they take influences from the past and like filter them into this weird, like classic rock soup that I just love. I think it's really cool. But yeah, his vocals on that song are just really like heart-wrenching and ridiculous at the same time. So there you go.
Right now for the worst.
I am praying that we keep this trend going and me and Joe have the same worst song of the year.
No, we won't. Because my worst was on your best. I do hate Shallow. It is my least favorite. Only because I looked through this like the list of top 40 charting songs. I didn't know a damn one. I kept going through. I was like, I don't know this song. I don't know this song. I was hoping Zombie by Bad Wolves, their horrible cover of the Cranberries tune, would make the top 40. Didn't quite. Number 58, because I do hate that song. But something about Shallow, maybe I'm crazy. It sounds like they're singing out of tune. Like I can't believe this is a real song. It sounds so bad to me. Like I thought it was a joke. I think it's a joke. I think the whole world is in on it because when Lady Gaga starts singing, it's awful. And Bradley Cooper he has an okay voice, but he shouldn't be in the same room with Lady Gaga. But then Lady Gaga also sings poorly on this track, so I don't know what the hell's going on. It just sounds awful to my ears. I don't understand why everyone loves it, so I don't know. I hate it. Can't stand it.
That's weird. My least favorite track of that made the top 40 in 2018 is Perfect by Ed Sheeran. It's far from perfect, or maybe it's too perfect. It's the most basic, classic Ed Sheeran bullshit. It's just like this nice guy ballad, soft voice filled with honey. I hate it. College, I'll sit on the edge of the bed and play guitar for the four girls in our dorm who've never seen a guitar before. Wussy rock, so dry and lame and basic. It's meant to sell chocolate. It's very vanilla. It's white bread. It's full of like every cliche in the book, like holding your heart and getting in touch with your soul, and like everything has been said before. It's just garbage. This guy is like one of the worst songwriters I've ever heard in my life. There's no originality to it. He sings with no passion. He just has this really effeminate voice. I hate it. I hate Ed Sheeran. I hate it so much. I hate it.
Well, that's a hatred that is justified. You're keeping your Ed Sheeran hate going, and I'm going to keep my Imagine Dragons hate going. I've got Natural by Imagine Dragons as my least favorite top 40 song. Like, is this the same track as Thunder with different words? Like, I have no way of telling the difference. Who knows? Who cares? It's just more of the same, and maybe actually the same. Someone has to investigate that. But yeah, we'll move on to the winners.
Right, my winner, going back to my album winner, God's Favorite Customer. I'm going to go with Mr. Tillman as my song of the year. I think it's a great song. I don't know a lot of artists who would just completely eviscerate themselves in their own like lead single from albums. Just the way he writes the lyrics kind of takes the point of view of a hotel maitre d' or clerk or whatever, and just talks about how much of a douchebag he's being, leaving passports in the mini fridge, leaving his mattress out in the rain in the balcony, talking about how he's hanging out with people with tattoos on their faces, and just he's got this whole vibe around him. And I just love the lyrics. Mr. Tillman, for the seventh time, we have no knowledge of a film that is being shot outside. Like, you just get such a good sense of like when he's in this hotel, he's has writer's block, so he holed up in this hotel and just a total mess. And on top of that, the song is great. It's super catchy. There's this ridiculously cool little menacing piano line throughout. Jonathan Rado just does a phenomenal job producing the whole album, and I just love this song and I love this album. So easy winner, Mr. Tillman, Father John Misty.
Yeah, that was a good one. It was considered to make my five. A couple songs from that album, which I think I only gave 3.5 stars to. It was a weak year, man. My winner has already been talked about by Joe. It's Love It If We Made It by 1975. I love how decadent it is and just like its 80s-ness. It starts off talking about like we're fucking in a car and doing heroin. It's just like, oh, you have my attention now. Matt Healy, I think, is 10 years from now, even by Jason, maybe. No, probably not, because he's really out of touch. Going to be appreciated by being just like this brilliant lyricist. And like Joe was talking about, he can talk about really lame modern behavior in a really intellectual way and tie it into cheesy sounding pop music. It's really a unique talent that not a lot of people have going on today. The lyrics on here are terrific, and it's a different kind of song for them. Like, it's incredibly topical, like in this pop sense, not like in like talking about social media and stuff that they usually do, but he's talking about like a lot of political stuff and all that, which they usually do on their albums in like those little vignettes and stuff, like in the little like instrumentals and little pieces. And do it pretty straightforward here. And this one's kind of straight ahead, thick, not too flowery, but still has great production. He's actually kind of shouting the words instead of like being all melodic and cute and charming, which is pretty different for his delivery, but it's still full of passion. And then the chorus opens up to be just like that classic 1975 expected sound with just like the in excess and all of that. It's absolutely awesome. This isn't my favorite. It's probably my third favorite album of theirs. Maybe their fourth, but this to me is the gem on this album. And I believe it charted in the US like alternative rock charts, but like there's so many of their songs should be pops, like big hits in the US. It's just a clear cut sign of how out of touch the US is with what actual good music is. Like at this, including now in 2022 and going back here, all you have to do to write a pop hit is to have it be like low key and sexual and sensual and just something you can put on while you like have Netflix on mute and make out on your couch. Like that's all it takes. It's so fucking stupid. And this one is the opposite. It takes a little bit of brain power.
All right. Well, I'm probably giving Joe the series win with this one, but I got to go to a friend of the channel, Michael Rault. I've got Sleep With Me. The production on this track is just like the sweet spot for me. I think it sounds so good. Every tone, every instrument is just dialed in to perfection. The mix is great. The arrangement is stellar. And on top of all that, it's a killer tune. The melody is really strong. You got beautiful harmonies. There's great strings on it. And then lyrically, I don't know, it just seems to like have these layers. Like at first you're like, oh, Sleep With Me. It's a song about hooking up. And then it's like, oh, are they actually like sleeping? And then the more you listen, then there's like this bittersweet quality to the melody. You're like, is this like a suicide pact he's talking about? Like, what's going on here? And I don't actually know. It's kind of left a little vague, and it's just cool. You can kind of read it any way you like, and I just think it sounds amazing. So that is my winner. So there you go, a very lukewarm reception to 2018. Let us know what you think of the year, if you like it more than us or less than us. Drop your favorite songs in the comment. Let us know what you think of our lists as well. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. You can find links to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, and merch in the video description, as well as a link to our website where you can go vote for which of our songs of the year is your favorite. It is coming down to the wire, and I have managed to keep things alive for another year, another week, with my Phoebe Bridgers win last week.
Which came out of nowhere. That's one of the more surprising. That song's what? I mean, at least by Spotify, it's not a very popular song. I guess Phoebe Bridgers is like the it girl now, so people saw that. They didn't even listen. They just voted. It's the only explanation. It obliterated everybody. It was crazy. So yeah, I have 25. Jason, you're up to 23 and a half. Crams are 18 and a half. He's out. Don't vote for him. So yeah, we'll see if Father John can bring me home the win here.
And I think, like Jason, you have to win. If I steal this one, you're fucked. Like it's all or nothing for Jason.
Yes, so he's putting it all on Mr. Rald. He better call him up and ask all his friends to vote, because that's probably the only way. Good song. I own that album, and I love. This might be the first time I've liked both of your picks in a long time.
2016, I thought you did. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I like last year's. Phoebe Bridgers was fine too. I can't. I'm not gonna hate that.
Yeah, man.
We picked good songs lately, I think. For how bad this decade has been, the song of the year winner is not so bad.
We're doing the dirty work to get the diamonds in the rough, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
You're welcome, America and UK and Canada and Sweden and Tunisia and Morocco and
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Finland? Do we say Finland?
I don't know. Everyone from everywhere.
Denmark?
Except Denmark.
Like the video, go vote. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.